Hello and welcome to the first ever True Osprey podcast. I'm your host Darren and I am joined by my co-host Jake. Jake, how are you doing this afternoon?
Good, thanks, Darren. Yourself?
Yeah, fine, thank you, not too bad. So then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is going to be hopefully the first of many podcasts. There are some amazing Ospreys podcasts out there, but we wanted to join in the fun and games of being a podcast. So here we go then. So we're going to briefly talk about the WRU announcement, and I'm going to get Jake's opinion on it without getting in too much detail because we are trying to keep this Ospreys related, but obviously it does include the Ospreys, unfortunately, as well as the other three regions. So Jake, let's get your opinion first of all on the latest WRU announcement, which got released last week. Tell us from a supporter's point of view, from yourself, where you think this will end up. Well, they reckon that by the end or the beginning of October this year, we'll know where things are going to be finalised, hopefully.
Well, I think the WRU, this is my opinion, I think they'll keep the four regions the way it's going. I think personally, I think they should all have the same budget, 6 million each. Because if you look at the four regions, they've all got private backers. Like the Scarlets have got American owners. Dragons have got Dave Budges and someone else. I think it's a Russian company. I'm not so sure. We have Y11. And then Cardiff have got the WRU money coming in. But also I've heard rumours that Cardiff are looking to find a buyer to buy the club and that. So that's what I can hear so far. But we need four competitive regions, right? We need to be competing in the Champions Cup. Because I remember years ago, you had Dragons who were mid-table. Scarlets were getting better. But Cardiff and Ospreys were always in the quarterfinals of Europe every year. You had the Galacticos. Cardiff had a couple of Kiwi imports. Scarlets had the likes of Regan King, David Lyons, Easterby. That was it with them, I think. But we just need to get Welsh rugby back to where it needs to be. And the WRU, well, I think the shambles. I think Teeny and the two guys that run it need to go because they don't have a clue about rugby. They're just businessmen. How can you cut a region, right? If we end up like Glasgow in Scotland, like Glasgow and Edinburgh, it's not going to work. You've got to keep four regions in Wales. End of story.
Well, even if they kept it down to two, it's still not going to work because apparently
it's not.
I was reading when it got published and I double-checked this morning that if they do cut it down to two, then the other two are going to be like for like training games and like developing players, but that's not going to work, is it? So
no, it's not. I remember years ago, Swansea and Cardiff went into the Gallagher Premiership in the 90s. And they both did very well. I remember Swansea playing Newcastle down St Helens in front of a packed crowd. They are other English stars, and we thumped them. We absolutely thumped them. So why can't the four Welsh regions say, sorry, WRU, we're going into the Gallagher Premiership. Like, Dragons go into the Championship. Ospreys, Scarlets and Cardiff all go into the Gallagher Premiership. It's a no-brainer for me. Or there's a second option. You cut the URC completely. You have the South African teams going to Super Rugby. You have the Irish teams, the Scottish teams, and the Welsh teams with the Gallagher Premiership teams, and you make a British league. You put the Italian teams in the top 14, maybe. That's a shout. You have a British league. You scrap the European Cup completely because I don't think Europe is working at the moment. The French team seem to be winning it every year. When was the last time a British team won the Champions Cup?
It's been a while, isn't it?
2020 Exeter were the last British team to win it.
It's mostly the French and South African teams now, isn't it?
Yeah, but the South African teams are moaning about their budgets and that. Bulls get 10 million every year. What does that tell you? Toulouse's budget is 60 million.
How can you compete with that? Like, it's mad.
There's so much money. There's so much money in the game. Like I was looking at the French rugby starting 15s the other day. It's like the Premier League. You can't compete.
No.
It's just there's French rugby, there's British rugby, and they're going to still do it. They don't have a cap in France. They never do. They break the boundaries.
Yeah.
Something has to change. That's what I think.
Definitely. Obviously, there was model A, B, C, and D, if I remember correctly, that Welsh Rugby Union want to do. I think off the top of my head, I think B and D will like keep the 4 regions, but then they have an equal amount of pay. It's not going to work. You've got to somehow they got to have like some breaking ground where they have equal money to compete. But will that be a possibility now because of what happened with Cardiff and Cardiff getting bailed out? Obviously, they're not going to leave. They're not going to have a capital team. Sorry, not playing out Cardiff. It's quite sad where this has all come from. Growing up watching rugby. Going with my late granddad to watch games, and my uncle. I want my little boy to experience what I did growing up, watching top quality rugby, having the best players playing for your team and playing in the league. But where does this, obviously all that money now has been pumped into St Helens. Where do we know where we're going to be? Well, hopefully we'll know more come October, but where are we going to see ourselves in 5 years? If they do cut to 2 teams or they have 3 teams, it's not fair. Like, I feel sorry for, rivalry aside, I feel sorry for everyone who supports Ospreys, Scarlet Dragons and Cardiff, because you just don't know where they're going to be.
No, I know. And the biggest part is, right, if you look back in March, Abby Teeny and all them said, we're going to have more equal funding. We're all going to have 6 million each. And I'm like to myself, oh, brilliant. What an absolute load of rubbish. It was a lie after lie. And then all of a sudden, then Cardiff are in trouble because their owners were fake and that. Then you've got this PIA that the Ospreys and Scarlets did not want to sign, and I'm glad they haven't, right? Dragons have signed it. And now you look at the Dragons and everybody's like, it's an absolute mess. I mean, it's just, Welsh rugby is so toxic and that. And I feel sorry for the supporters and the coaches. Grassroots rugby, I feel sorry for loads of people.
Yeah. Well, look at me playing for Skewing, it's going to have a knock-on effect. Because obviously they're funded by the Welsh Rugby Union, so that's going to have a knock-on effect. Where is the future stars of Wales going to play if there's no money coming from the top, filtering down all the way to grassroots? There's not going to be enough. Like, we're struggling now to get all right, our first team is all right, but like we get 1 or 2 injuries and there's no one.
There's no strength in depth.
Exactly, and it's the same as the regions. You get like 1 or 2 injuries to like a certain position, like we had last year for the Ospreys, and you're calling in, either a lone player or get someone from the academy. There needs to be something in place for that, and obviously there is, but like the budget is so tight. Looking at we'll get onto this in more detail later, but you look at the players we have brought in, the likes of Moriarty, Harry Williams, Evan Daniel and Ryan Smith, who are going to be quality signings. But we get an injury to 1 or 2 there, and it's the same as the other regions. You get 1 or 2 injuries and it's going to leave them short. Touch wood, the Ospreys do have an injury-free season, but you just never know with professional rugby, do you?
No, but I was looking at the squads earlier, and I still think we've got the best squad in Wales by a mile. We've got 2 front 5s and they're all fit. We've got loads of good back rowers. I think that the one team that could struggle this year, the Scarlets, because they're playing Champions Cup rugby. And Champions Cup rugby is a totally different game to Challenge Cup, where you can just play your second string and still get a result. But in Champions Cup, you get 1 or 2 injuries, and you're already staring down the barrel. Cardiff and Newport, they've signed players, but it just winds me up that we can't sign it. Well, we can't sign a player on that, and we're still looking for players. We're still in the market for players. It's just one of them things. Really winds me up.
I think we should have. I think we have signed who we wanted to sign, and it's brilliant. But adding like a 1 or 2 extra loan, maybe like football. I hate comparing football to rugby because there's no comparison. Rugby is rugby, football. There's no comparison to it. But yeah, hopefully there is someone out there, or even one of the academy boys. Like we said, we'll talk a bit more later.
Yeah, that's fine.
About it. But yeah, hopefully now. Well, apparently the consultation is going to start on. I did write this down. Bear with me. In August, and then hopefully they're going to talk to all the 4 regions, the people on the board, the CEOs, the chief execs, and sponsors who sponsor each of the 4 regions. Obviously, there is a survey you can complete on the WRU website. Have you done it? I know I've done it.
No, I am not.
Or something, call for change or something. There's a link.
I've seen it, but I'm not doing it because I've got no time for the WRU. No time.
But hopefully they do listen. I think the last time when I done it a couple of days ago, they had 122 people had signed up for it. So you think how many supporters in Wales, But like you said, some people will probably go, no, it's a Welsh Rugby Union. They don't. They know. Well, supposedly they know what they're doing, and they've probably already made their minds up, regardless of talking to the 4 regions and supporters. Obviously,
all they care about the WRU is that.
Yeah.
They care about the card. They care about that stadium in Cardiff. They care about the hotels. And not being funny, right? They are crooks. They always have been, always will be. The national team is struggling badly. If one of the regions go, you watch the attendances drop now in the autumn in the nationals. How many fans will not go and watch Wales play?
Well, it's just a matter of time there, But will people do it though? That's the question. I know it's expensive now, but how are you going to attract loyal supporters, or those who just follow Wales, which is fair enough because we're all one big rugby family at the end of the day. How are you supposed to attract? I know it's New Zealand, South Africa,
Japan, Argentina.
Japan again, and Argentina. How are you supposed to attract supporters from knee high up all the way to people that have been supporting Wales all their lives or are new to supporting Wales? How are you supposed to attract them to even watch the so-called big global rugby stars when no disrespect, the likes of New Zealand, South Africa, Argentina maybe are going to put 40, 50, 60, 70 points on you? What's that going to do for players' confidence?
I know.
The Welsh are being going, oh yeah, Wales are turning in a new direction. But what's that going to do? I know you've got to give players a chance. But when you're getting beat 60, 70 nil, that's not going to put no confidence in you at all.
When you look at the Rugby Championship results this weekend, you look at likes of South Africa beating Australia, and you see Argentina beating the All Blacks.
They are beatable. They are beatable.
But we're not at that level at the moment.
We used to be.
We were at that level.
Yeah.
2019, we were the best team in the world. We were playing a good style of rugby. But then when it came to the 2019 World Cup, we became pragmatic because Anscombe was our key player, wasn't he? He was getting the back line going. And then Dan Biggar came in. And Dan Biggar's a world-class player. but he doesn't get the back line going.
Yeah.
He's more of a kicking 10. But with Anscombe, you get he's a magician, in his prime. He's one of the best, I would say, one of the best 10s in the world. But that injury.
He takes the ball up to the line, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. It's example, when we played Australia a couple of years ago when Pivac lost his job, you saw that with Hawkins and him. They were playing 10 and 12, and it was working really, really well. So, yeah. But I hate the chopping and changing with the Welsh team. I really hate it. This autumn now is an opportunity to start bringing youngsters in, get your combinations right, because we've got 2 years and then the World Cup comes around. And that's where you've got to pick what's the word I'm looking for? A consistent team.
Yeah. Those 2 years will come around bloody quick, mind.
They will.
Oh, yeah, it always does.
It will, because the World Cup is like that.
Yeah.
Teams are getting stronger, size and more powerful. We're just, I don't know what our identity is at the moment. I really don't.
It's just, yeah. Hopefully we'll find out more in October now and we'll go from there. But
it stresses me out. October does. It's already starting to stress me out.
But we've got to remain positive. We've got to back our region. We've got to buy a season ticket holder.
I've already done mine. I've already got it.
I'm waiting to get paid, hopefully tonight, and then they're going to renew mine because it needs to be done. Obviously, this is old news now, but obviously this is the first episode. So basically, for those who don't know, the Ospreys, who will be moving to St Helens, were supposed to be moving in December this year, but that's been pushed back, which is fair enough. Obviously, we're going to Brewery Field now for the season to play all URC games, home games, and in Europe. I remember going last year to watch Sale on the atmosphere. It was just electric. I've never seen a rugby atmosphere like that for years. The place was bouncing. Playing the South African teams, and obviously they struggled because they just didn't know what hit them. The whole place was just electric. And I hope that with the amount of season ticket sales that have been mentioned, the place will just go from here right up here this season. Make it a fortress, I reckon.
What is your favourite game at the Brewery Field in the last couple of years? There's a question for me to answer you.
Well, it's got to URC. It's got to be that Cardiff game.
Oh, I love that game.
That was more like 80s, 90s style, mud on players' faces, old school rugby. The pitch getting turned up. Last minute drama to win it from Morgan Morse. It was just.
Oh, it was brilliant.
And then obviously, like I alluded to just now, the Sale game. Even though some people say that was their second team, but
it wasn't. It was their strongest team actually.
And obviously, the South African teams coming last year was just amazing. They just didn't know what they were going there thinking. Oh yeah, we'll turn these over. The place was electric, and yeah, seeing their superstars just struggle because they just didn't know what hit them when they turned up to a place in Bridgend that some of them never heard of, and they didn't know what hit them, and that was so good. Like,
my favourite game was probably the Sale game last year.
Yeah.
And all week when Europe comes around, I'm so nervous because every time we're in a European knockout game, we lose. But that day, I was so confident winning that game because I was looking at the team at Booth picked. You had Gareth Thomas, who's a hooker, third choice hooker.
Don't put me on the spot.
He can play back row.
Oh my God, why would you do that? Botha? No.
Lloyd.
Lewis Lloyd.
Yeah, he played hooker. Tom Botha, Adam Beard, Ratty, Deves, Tiprick, Morgan Morris. That pack absolutely blew that Sale pack away. And they're full of South Africans and English players. We just hammered them. And then you had people like Nicky Smith. You had reserve hooker. You had Rhys Henry. You had Hugh Sutton. And you had Morgan Morse on the bench. And that performance was phenomenal. And then you had people like Owen Williams. What a player he was for us. You had Morgan Williams. our two centres, Keith and Owen Watkin, were just bashing their way through the middle. You had Jack Walsh at full back, who's a magician that night. Keelan Giles was just showing everyone he's like Shane Williams-esque. Luke Morgan put in a good shift that day as well. But it was one of the best. That was my favourite time in Bridgend and the Cardiff game as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you have some favourite moments there.
Yeah, but moving on then, let's talk more. Let's get a Welsh Rugby Union out the way. That's for another day now. Let's talk Ospreys talk then. Looking ahead then to the first pre-season game, which is 2 weeks Saturday. Well, yeah, if you can call it that. Exeter Chiefs, we played them last year down in Sandy Park. We had a last minute try, I want to say, to win. We definitely won the game just by the finals and margins. Obviously, they're coming to us in Brewery Field on the 6th of September. Obviously, the possibility of a familiar face in Ethan Roots coming back to, well, we say Swansea, but obviously being Bridgend because of the refurbishment, sorry. Ethan Roots made 37 appearances for the Ospreys in his time in Swansea. He made his debut in 2021 at the age of 24. Like, obviously, he's played back rower, but he was immense. I was so devastated when Exeter signed him and Joe Hawkins at a time. And I was like, it was like a double whammy. I was like, wow, where did this come from? Ethan Roots would just run through brick walls for your team. Like, he was such a brilliant and still is a fantastic rugby player. Obviously, Exeter didn't have the best of Premiership seasons last season. They struggled to pick up form, but yeah, it'd be nice to see Ethan and obviously the rest of the Exeter team next Saturday. Jake, question for you. What was your favourite or most memorable memory of Ethan Roots at his time in Swansea?
Oh, good question. That game we beat Munster at Liberty, 2021. He played at number 8 at the back of a pack who were dominating Munster that night. And he was outstanding. He had that aura about him, like not like Tia.
Yeah.
Aura, just get the ball, get over the game line. He was a proper player. He had that leadership about him. But when we lost him to Exeter, I was absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted, because I wish we'd kept hold of him, but unfortunately budget restraints, you know.
Yeah. You never know, he might come back. You never know.
Would he get in this back row now? I don't think so.
I know, yeah, but you know, another star quality player, the guy, I think he just slot in there, to be honest, picked up where he left off, like, but
he was class.
Yeah. So carrying on with the Exeter game, obviously we're gonna have a starting 15 as subs, but I reckon it's just gonna be a squad game where they're just gonna rotate players like every 10, 15 minutes just to give everyone game time. Is there anyone who you are looking forward to seeing in that Exeter game? Any academy boys coming through? Any of the new signings? Who are you most excited to see?
Lewis Edwards. I think this kid is absolutely quality. Remember that game last year, me and you went to watch at the Liberty, and he was playing full back. Every time he got the ball, something was going to happen.
Yeah.
He was going to make a break. He was going to make a pass. Reminds me of that Leinster boy at 12. Not 12, utility back. You know the one I'm on about?
Osborne?
Him or Crowley, one of him. Cornelius is another one I want to see on the wing with full backs. He's got gas. Maori gas.
Yeah. We obviously got with our academy has always produced good quality top players and is still producing more now, which is lovely to see. Hopefully they can keep finding the gems, as they call it. I'd like to see. So I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm just looking at my notes for a second. Obviously, the academy boys. Hopefully, we get to see Tom Florence get a chance. I think we get on to it in more detail. I want to see him have his breakthrough season in the first team, because obviously he spent a time in Bridgend last season. Lewis Jones, another one who spent time in Bridgend. I want to see him against Exeter to show Mark Jones and co what they're about. Obviously Harry Williams, Ross Moriarty, Ryan Smith, and am I missing one? Who's the other one? Evan Daniel, sorry, from
Yeah, that's him, yeah.
Yeah. I locked down and then obviously 4 players in 7 or 8 departures, I want to say. Obviously Adam Beard being the most notable one. Then you got obviously Tips retiring, but personally I think he's got like a year left in him. He's obviously stepped up to coaching. Are you going to the Exeter game? I think I'm going.
Yeah, 100% going.
Yeah.
100% going.
Hopefully hopefully the place be bouncing. I know there's no such thing as a friendly in rugby, but hopefully it'd be nice just to watch the Ospreys play and obviously see some of the youngsters get a chance, some of the new faces, and obviously Exeter, bring some of their, youngsters as well, and obviously Ethan Roots, and obviously a familiar Welsh college student, I want to say, but then got converted by England, Feo Bozo. I think if he's fit, which I think he might be, I think he'll play maybe.
He's a superstar, he isn't he?
Yeah, should have done
more
more. Then, but obviously the Welsh colleges and the whole competing with Hartbury and all that is like the Welsh colleges rugby's here, and Hartbury colleges are like just keeps going. Like there's such a big gap. But yeah. We're gonna discuss next about the loan players. Where do you think some of the loan players are gonna be at? Obviously, as I briefly mentioned, last season you had Tom Florence and Lewis Jones, Bridgend. You had Cam Jones, Kieran Hyatt, Swansea, then Aberavon had a few players. There last week, Aberavon played a friendly. Can't remember who it was against. Sorry to those watching. But Dylan James, prop of the Ospreys, has joined Aberavon for the season from the Ospreys. Owen Erasmus has joined them. He's an outside half. And Connor Morse, a wing, has joined Aberavon for the season. Obviously, it would be nice. It would have been nice to see them play in Bridgend, but obviously they've been chosen to represent Aberavon for the season. Is there anyone in the academy who you think will be loaned out this season, or do you think not many will be because obviously the squads are smaller now? What do you think?
I don't think that many will be loaned out. I think he'll play a lot of them this year. Because with Mark Jones, he's very good with young players. RGC did brilliant with the younger players, and they won the league that year. But I did read up on something that there's a couple of youngsters in the Ospreys pre-season squad. I don't know their names, but there's someone from Aberavon, back rower, something Gwilym Bradley, played for Cardiff. You heard of him before?
I haven't. That's news to me. I'll have to do my research now when we end this.
Yeah, but there are a couple of play. I mean, there are a couple of youngsters coming through, so wait and see.
Yeah.
But no, some of these players that you've mentioned were outstanding last year in the SRC, and they deserve an opportunity. So
for Rugby Cymru, yeah.
Yeah.
I sorry, this is all like I keep turning to my notes. Where is I did jot a few more down. Obviously Harry Houston, another one who spent last season on loan at Swansea. I'd like to see him play more regularly, even if it's like coming on the last 20 minutes, given a chance in the Challenge Cup. Cam Jones, another one who I mentioned.
Big season for him this year.
Yeah, I want to see him. I know you mentioned earlier when we were talking off air about Kean Haya. Obviously, he spent time at Swansea last season. I got a funny feeling it could go one or two ways. He could be loaned out again just for more game time, or he could have his breakthrough season. But just all depends on what the coaches think of that. Your thoughts on Owen Watkin? Obviously, unfortunate that we lost him last season through injury, but Boshoff stepped up. He's back. I have seen a few people mention that Watkin's back. Obviously, him and Keith, or Kieran Williams, as people know him. If you don't know him as Keith, not many of you should not know him as Keith. Owen Watkin, him and Keith centre partnership, definitely, or would you have Boshoff and Keith, and then maybe switch it around in Europe, or would you keep? Because obviously you need those combinations from like day one. Would you have Watkin, Kieran Williams starting in the league, or would you see Boshoff, Kieran, or would you see Boshoff, Watkin? What's your opinion on that centre partnership, which is quite key in?
That's a tough decision. It's hard because Boshoff was for me, he was our best player second half of last year.
Yeah, definitely.
You forgot two other players, Phil Sockner, I think, or Tom Florence as well.
Yeah, I mentioned Florence earlier. Cocker Singer. I didn't forget about him. I just know that he was injury prone last season, which was unfortunate because when we went to watch the game down the Liberty when we played Swansea, Aberravon, Bridgend, he looked a talented player, and obviously his time in the Gallagher Premiership was good. Do you think it's make or break this season for Cocker Singer? Or I'm not alluding to anything before anyone says, I'm just making, this is my opinion on it. Do you reckon Cocker Singer gets his chance this season, or is there too much of a gap from Keith, Watkin, Boshoff, Keith? Or would you see, like I said, switch them around? But obviously you need that sustainability of that partnership in midfield, because that midfield is like your go-to.
I think, and this is my opinion, I think Sockner, whereas as good as those three, I think, because he's got the stepping ability, he's got the passing game. If you had him and Keith in the centres together, say we were playing somebody with big centre, say we were playing the Bulls at home, and Boshoff and Watkin weren't doing it, and you need somebody to say, right, I need to make a bit of magic. He's your guy. Because you watched them last year together. I know they were Swansea, Bridgend, and Aberravon, but Keith and Phil, they look brilliant together. But you need a 10, like a Dan Edwards or a Luke Scully or a Jack Walsh, to get them over to the line, cut them open, just cut them open like that.
Yeah.
Another player who I think could play in the centre is Cornelius.
Oh, it's okay.
Because he can play 15, 14, 12, 13, 11. He's a utility back. Not like a Tommy Bow.
Yeah, yeah.
He'll cut them at the angles. He's the type of player that I think could potentially play in those areas for us where we're dangerous.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Luke Scully, as you mentioned, play in 2 weeks' time against Exeter. But I got a funny feeling he'll get loaned out just for game time, I think, personally.
I think you keep him as a squad player. I think he's a very, very good player. It's just injuries with him.
Yeah, it's just part of the game, isn't it? Injuries are part of the game, unfortunately. But fingers crossed we can keep hold of have an injury-free season. But the sport can be cruel. Look at Owen Watkin last season. Just unfortunate. Obviously, I think we're still missing. Oh my God, why Morgan Morris to injury? Or he's not too far away from coming back.
He's back. He's back and training.
Right.
And Rhys Davies is back.
Well, that's excellent news. Then I must have missed that somehow. That'll definitely keep them too fit, and yeah, they're gonna cause a problem. Oh no, and then obviously you chuck Ryan Smith in that mix, and that lock position is nailed on. I think.
I think we got plenty of depth. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think we got plenty of depth at lock and back row. I think, but I don't know where we're weak at the moment. I think we've got such a young, vibrant, steady squad. Just go out and play. Just go out and play. That's what I think we should do.
Yeah. Well, we've seen the attacking style of rugby that we've seen with Mark Jones at the end of last season against the Scarlets, and the Scarlets home in Europe. But then, playing in Challenge Cup and League kind of like seen us drop off. But obviously, player rotation can't be changed too much because of the small squads. But no, I'm looking forward to that Exeter game. We'll get a chance to, watch top quality players, your region play against English opposition, which always brings that extra spice to it all. But no, yeah. So we are gonna end it there for today. This has been myself, Darren, and my co-host Jake from True Osprey. We hope you like it. Hopefully, we get welcomed into the podcast family for the Ospreys. And thank you very much for listening. And we will see you soon. Jake, pleasure as always. I will catch you soon. Just discuss more things off air before we do another podcast. We are looking to do this once a week on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll get it out to you guys on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter or X as you call it, Instagram as well, as quickly as we can when the editors have done cut all the bits out that they need to chop and change. But this has been myself and Jake, True Osprey podcast. See you very soon. Thank you and have a good rest of the week. Bye bye from me.
Bye.